Welcome to the Front 7 Podcast. I am your host, Money Mike, and today I will be discussing the possibility and the reasons why the Indianapolis Colts need to make Andrew Luck this generation's Herschel Walker by trading him for a bazillion picks. Well, okay, not really a bazillion picks, but they'll at least get maybe three first rounders, couple seconds, and to ensure that they have the picks to fully restock the team and potentially be able to actually build a team around their next franchise quarterback. And I look at the Indianapolis Colts, and I gotta tell you, it makes a lot of sense to not play Andrew Luck. I mean, I don't know if there's like some secret deal being done behind the scenes, but it is very, very odd that he had shoulder surgery back in January and he is yet to be on the field playing for the Colts, let alone even practice with the team, while Cam Newton had shoulder surgery back in March and he's out in the field. He's played the first two games of the Panthers season. Yeah, okay, he's looked a little off from having the surgery. I get that. But he's still out there. While we are all still trying to figure out the mystery behind why Andrew Luck has at least not even practiced with the team at all. I mean, if you want to keep him out of the preseason, that's fine. But at least have him practice, but he hasn't practiced with the team at all. And he's already been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Cleveland Browns. And it's quite possible the Browns might win their first game against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, when you've seen how bad the Colts have been so far this year. This is just like the 2011 Colts all over again. And to me, it baffles my mind here how the Colts' mindset, how their mindset throughout all this, they did not learn anything from 2011. I mean, what we saw in 2011, when Peyton Manning had the neck surgery, he missed the entire year. What we saw there was just how bad the Colts were at drafting. It exposed Bill Polian and exposed their front office for not being able to put a team around Peyton Manning. Because if you lose a guy, it's always the next man up. Football has always been about that, but the one constant here is that the Colts' lack of attention towards the backup quarterback position here. 2011, we saw Kerry Collins and Curtis Painter. Now we have, in 2017, Scott Tolzien and Jacoby Brissett. I mean, again, the Colts have failed to find a capable backup for their starting quarterback. And again, look, you can go and blame Ryan Grigson, because when he came in 2012, he was the one that had a lot that started all these issues. What we're seeing on the field now, what we saw on Sunday against the Cardinals, last week against the Rams, what we are seeing the mess that General Manager Chris Ballard is trying to clean up from Brian Grigson. That's what we're seeing here. And Chris Ballard probably is sitting there thinking, what did I get myself into trying to clean up this mess that he left? And one of the things that I wish Chris Ballard would have recognized was to find a capable backup quarterback, especially considering Andrew Luck had surgery in January. So the Colts knew that he had surgery in January. They knew when they brought in Chris Ballard that he had the surgery, but yet nothing was done to improve the backup quarterback position. And yes, there might be some out there that might even say, hell, why don't the Colts give Colin Kaepernick a chance? And essentially, I look at it and I think, honestly, there's a couple places right now I think Colin Kaepernick would probably be worth a shot to sign. And again, I don't know how long Tom Coughlin is going to give Blake Bortles before they switch over to Chad Henne. But, I know he said that they did their due diligence, so to speak, on Colin Kaepernick and chose not to sign him. But when you look at the Colts situation, you can't sit there and say, okay, look, I know Colin Kaepernick, the media has created a circus around him that teams do not want to deal with. Because the minute that any team signs Colin Kaepernick, it now becomes about him. All the attention from the team goes right to Colin Kaepernick. And no head coach wants to deal with that throughout the week or every week. But at some point, you have to take that gamble. And to sit there and say that Scott Tolzien, Jacoby Brissett are better than Colin Kaepernick. At this point, we don't know how long Andrew Luck is going to be out. As I said, he's been ruled out for week 3 already against the Browns. There's reports saying that he may not even play until October. Right now for the Colts, it's just all deja vu. Deja vu happening all over again. It's 2011 all over again. And when you look at the state of the Colts, a Herschel Walker type of trade involving Andrew Luck will be the answer to the Colts' success. Now, I don't know what they could give or what they could get for Andrew Luck, but with the premium that the NFL has placed on quarterbacks, you're looking at maybe 3 first-rounders, you're looking at maybe 2 seconds, 3 firsts, some late rounders. You're really looking at a big type of trade here. It's not going to be anything like the Herschel Walker trade that we saw between the Cowboys and the Vikings. But at face value, just what we've seen in recent drafts, even if you go back to the 2012 draft and what the Redskins gave up for RG3, and then if you go back to what the Rams gave up for Jared Goff, what the Eagles gave up to get Carson Wentz, you look at what Texans you look at what the Texans and the Chiefs, what they gave up to get their franchise quarterbacks and Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. So if you look at all these draft trades for quarterbacks, Andrew Luck has got to be worth similar around those picks, those amount of picks that the Colts can receive to officially start rebuilding the team. It does not matter at this point who the quarterback is, because without a good supporting cast, the quarterback is going to fail. And the whole next man up, the Colts have got to do a better job at getting a quality backup that can still win them games when their starter goes down. And I think at this point, regardless of what the Colts do, I think right now it shows what or how far away the Colts really are from being a playoff contender once again. And right now, purging Andrew Luck and trading him in what could possibly be this generation's Herschel Walker trade, would be the smartest thing the Colts could do. And, hey, I know that it would leave them without a franchise quarterback, but again, look at the team. The team needs so much help that the quarterback does not matter. At this point, the quarterback does not matter. The supporting cast is not there. So even Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers would fail in Indianapolis right now. Look at what's going on in New Orleans. It's almost the same thing here, where New Orleans does not have the type of supporting cast around Drew Brees in order to succeed. And you see what's going on there with Drew Brees being healthy and playing every week. And that's exactly the same scenario Andrew Luck would be facing if he was healthy and playing, where he would be the one having to carry the team on his back and carry the defense, because there's no defense that can give him any kind of support and stopping the opposing offense. So it's always going to be shootouts. And you're always going to be playing from behind, as we are seeing what is happening in New Orleans. And the only way to salvage it is to trade Andrew Luck. And oddly enough, I think, okay, so here I am saying that the Colts should trade Andrew Luck, and the Vikings back then pulled the trigger because they thought they were one player away from being a Super Bowl contender. So when I am looking at the list of teams here, if you're going to give up a lot of draft picks for Andrew Luck and the type of player that we know he can be, and you want to get the most out of him, then the best chance for him is to go to a team that needs a quarterback close enough to being a playoff contender that he can get them over that hump and into contention for a Super Bowl. This is actually going to be the probability for Andrew Luck if the Colts were to trade him. I think he could very well land in the AFC West in Denver, following Peyton Manning's footsteps. And right now, the way Trevor Siemian is playing right now, you could actually package Trevor Siemian in the trade to Indianapolis, along with a couple first-round picks, to give them a quarterback that they can have that's actually proven to be a lot better than most expected. I think a lot of people count Denver out because of the quarterback situation, but here they are, 2-0. Trevor Siemian is probably one of the hottest pickups in fantasy football right now. But I think, to me, Denver could be a great place to go, or would be one of the first teams to contact Indianapolis if a trade were to happen. And Luck would have Denver set up for years and years of success in the AFC West and in the AFC in general. Now, moving to the NFC, the Vikings that were a part of the Herschel Walker trade, they could make a trade for Andrew Luck, and I say that because who knows how Teddy Bridgewater is going to be coming off an injury. Sam Bradford is now injured. Their quarterback situation going forward is going to be very, very, very questionable. So the Vikings could pull the trigger on an Andrew Luck trade, or quite possibly, I think these are probably my top two teams here, and it's Denver versus Arizona. Because to me, you reunite Andrew Luck with Bruce Arians in Indianapolis, in Arizona. You look at what the success that Bruce Arians had in Indianapolis, and I think that would be a good fit for Andrew Luck out in the desert, and it gets him out of the AFC in general. So unlike Denver, they would not have to worry about having to battle. Not worry to see Andrew Luck be the reason why they can't get over to the hump and into the Super Bowl, because Andrew Luck is beating them with the Broncos. So it's insane right now to think of that this is a possibility. But if this were to happen, my top two teams, I think the bidding would come down to Denver versus Arizona. If an Andrew Luck trade would ever come to fruition, who knows if it will. I'm just kind of speculating, throwing some things out. But again, it does make you wonder what's going on, because we have yet to hear anything about Andrew Luck. It's such a mystery of what's going on with Andrew Luck that not even Scooby-Doo could even figure out what is going on with Andrew Luck. Alright, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but he hasn't practiced yet. He's already been ruled out for the first 3 weeks of the 2017 season. There's a lot of questions I think that has to be answered there in Indianapolis by Chris Ballard and Chuck Pagano and possibly Jim Irsay. As I said earlier, Cam Newton had shoulder surgery back in March, and he's playing, but Andrew Luck, surgery in January, has not practiced, has not even participated and done anything with the team. So, what is going on here in Indianapolis? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And, right now it could quite possibly be. Maybe there's something of a setup of possibly tanking the year and going after the top quarterback and then essentially trading away Andrew Luck in the offseason, thus keeping him out of games, keeping him healthy, keeping him off the sidelines, make sure he doesn't get hurt, he doesn't ruin any value of the trade or a potential trade in March. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe there's some kind of... Maybe they're going to they've already secretly decided they're going to trade him and they're just trying to keep him healthy and they're tanking for the next quarterback. Who knows? I've been your host, Money Mike. This has been the Front 7 Podcast. And I'll see you later this week with more of the Front 7.